Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Go Up,
where we explore the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven.
I am Dean.
And I'm Karitas.
Karitas, today we are on Son/Bride Part 3, but mostly Bride.
Yeah, so Bride Part 2, Son and Bride Part 3.
That's right. Stay tuned.
Okay, we are back, and we are going to be talking more about the bride.
That's right, because you know what? Last week, Karitas, we had a bunch of extra footage.
Yeah.
We had to cut it out.
We really thought we could do it in 1 or 2 episodes, and we were proven very wrong.
Not going to happen.
Time was like, thou shalt not do this in 1 episode.
No.
And we couldn't.
We couldn't.
It was too much.
And so now we are not making any more new promises as to when this is going to be over. Yeah. We learned our lesson last time.
I know. And I should know this, having worked in a hospital, you don't make promises, right? You give someone a promise of a timeline and they will hold on to that. You told me in 3 days I'd get this. And then 3 days goes by and they get bumped. I should have known this. Don't give a timeline. Who knows where it will go?
However, Karitas, we will tell people about our website.
Oh, of course we will. Let's go up.us.
Because we are in this together.
So much better together, Dean.
So much better. And if you're encouraged by today's episode, we appreciate it if you would hit like, share, subscribe.
And the notification bell.
That's right.
Yeah.
We should also welcome our listening and watching guests today.
Yes, welcome everybody from the Grace Awakening Network, from YouTube, podcast viewing platforms.
That's right.
And the Great Cloud.
And the Great Cloud.
Because, they're not accessible through the website. They have their own special links. But
they do have their own link.
But all of our other links are on our website. So 1 click away.
So Karitas, today, the Bride of Christ.
Part 2.
Part 2.
But Part 3 of the Son and Bride series.
That's right. So it's Part 2 of the Bride, Part 3 of the series.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah. Okay. So recap. Last week, we talked about the bride a bit. Jesus not coming back for his bride, but Jesus coming back to unite his bride.
Yeah.
We talked about multiplying sons, did we not? And we talked about, what else did we talk about? We talked about Jesus.
Always a safe answer.
We read some good stuff. Just go back and listen. It was great.
We talked about Psalm 45, which is a wedding psalm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah. And we encouraged people to dive into the Song of Solomon or the Song of Songs.
I believe Karitas said it's on point.
It's on point.
If you want to explore the Bride of Christ.
Yeah.
So Karitas.
Where to begin? Okay. We should just begin with Ephesians. We went to Ephesians last week, but we couldn't fit it in.
You didn't hear it.
We couldn't squeeze it in.
Because we had to cut it out.
So why don't we just start where we sawed through the last.
That's right. Sawed is a good word for it. Yeah. Those decisions you have to make as to what content gets to stay.
I really feel for those guys that got together to put together the canon of the Bible. Like, how hard would that have been to have all these epic letters and stories and events that had happened and then to put just some of them together?
Yeah, but Karitas, they didn't have to fit it into 28 minutes.
Yeah, we have a way harder time.
Anyhow, the part that we didn't get to last week, Ephesians 5:25. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her.
That he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of water by the word, that he might present her to himself a glorious church, not having a spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that she should be holy and without blemish. Whoa. Sparkling, dazzling bride here.
Yeah.
You had read something so awesome last week from this vision you had from the Lord.
Yeah.
This beautiful, glistening bride like this one, this glorious, no spot, no wrinkle. But then she started to look down and started to think she wasn't worthy of this brilliance and started putting mud on or defiling it and
jumping in the mud
bowl.
Yeah. There's another part of this passage just a little further down. We are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I am speaking concerning Christ and the church. So this whole passage here, it's talking about the bride. It's talking about us being members of his body. It's talking about the two becoming one flesh. That's a direct reference to the beginning of Genesis. I believe that's what Adam spoke when Eve came on the scene, is it not?
Yeah, sounds very Adamish. Yeah.
So there are a lot of parallels here.
Yeah, the bone of bone, flesh of flesh.
Yeah. It says here, for we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. That's a pretty crazy statement.
There's no separation.
Does it not say at the beginning of Ephesians that he is the head and we are his body, or we are the body? We are actually part of this being, this uniting of heaven and earth, where Jesus is the head and we are the body. And once again, I think we can't think about this or imagine this in just an earth version of it. We have to realize that there were millions, maybe billions of saints that went before us that are already in heaven, that were and are still part of this body, except they're in heaven and we're here. And when Jesus comes back, he's going to unite these two dimensions together, and we'll all be in one place together.
It's going to be epic.
Yes, super epic. So we're talking about the bride of Christ here, and Paul mentions that it's a great mystery, but he's speaking concerning Christ and the church.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Paul would have pushed the Mysterion button. It's a great mystery.
You're right, and we've already said it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. You know, and when you were talking about even the parallel between Adam and Eve, like it all started with this image of this man and this woman becoming one.
Yeah.
The Ezer Kenegdo. We have turned it into she shall serve you, kind of this subservient thing, but that original word was partnership. It had been used in the Old Testament mostly to describe God, this support coming in, this backing, you know, the first line of defense, this union and this partnership. And it was always talked about that way, but we've seen it through a lens that's very different. But here, this language he uses in Ephesians is just connection. That's what I see, his body, his flesh, his bones, and the two shall become one.
So the relationship between us as the bride of Christ and Christ, it's this face-to-face united relationship, and it far surpasses anything that we have an imagination for. It can only be discovered through encounter and through being with him. And when we use language like knowing him, yada, the two becoming one flesh, I mean, we're paralleling things here in the natural that we have basic understanding of with the same version of it in the spirit world, which we don't really understand what it's going to look like.
Right.
We have to take our fleshly understanding and minds off of things and just accept that, as John said, what we're going to become, we don't really even know. But we're going to actually look at some scripture here in just a few minutes that's going to give us some very odd kind of mental pictures. And in the end, that's about as good as we're going to be able to describe things.
Yeah.
But this is not just symbolic. This is not just metaphorical. Jesus Christ, the Word of God, has been waiting for a bride since the beginning of creation, or at least since mankind was put on the earth. There's this funny picture that we get in the beginning of Genesis where God was bringing all the animals to Adam. And there's this funny verse at the end of it that says, and no partner or no mate was found for Adam. He brought the chimps, he brought the...
This kind of looks like you.
Yeah.
No.
I know, but in the end, nothing was found, right?
Yeah.
So God created this being. He actually took that being out of the side of Adam and presented her to Adam. And then he said, this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. That's when he said, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So that's where that statement came from. In the same way, there are millions and billions and quadrillions of sentient beings in the cosmos in multiple millions and billions and trillions of dimensions. There are so many of them, they're without number.
Mind blown.
Yes, absolutely. So, Jesus, he's been waiting for a bride. Was the Father bringing all of these different beings before Jesus?
Right.
He's like, no,
No,
nope,
no.
nope, not that one.
What? No way.
No. So then what happens? When he's on the cross, what flowed out of his side was his bride. And since that time, she is being made and created for him. And he's been waiting for a very, very, very long time for this.
Deep.
So deep. All right.
So good. Oh, and you know what? Even how you were saying you could spend all this time reading about it and studying it and listening to teachings about it, but we really need to be with him and receive from him. It's like we could, for example, go to classes about marriage. You could read marriage books. You can talk to everyone you know who's married, and you still wouldn't understand the fullness and the beauty of a pure, loving marriage.
Yeah.
No matter how much knowledge and information you had, you needed to experience it, you know?
Which is why Paul is saying here, husbands ought to love their own wives as their bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. He's talking about the marriage relationship here on earth. And at the very end, he says, this is a great mystery, but I'm actually speaking to you concerning Christ and the church. I mean, we can talk about this, have podcasts about it, but in the end, when we experience it, it will be different than we know. And there will be an entire eternity of encounter to be found in this model. It is not just symbolic. It is going to be a real thing. Jesus has been waiting for a bride.
And I feel like even guys like Paul, they wouldn't go into a lot of detail. He would give this example and then he'd sprinkle in, this is a great mystery. And then he'd move on.
Yeah.
So it's like those of you with ears to hear, with eyes to see, those who really want to know and experience this will go after this with him.
Yeah.
You don't need me to hold your hand through all of these things. He would just sprinkle them in there. And Jesus did the same thing, He kind of dropped these mic drops.
Yeah.
And he'd leave it there. If you want to pick it up, if you want to follow me.
Yeah. So if you want to explore what this means to you, I'm not going to tell you, Karitas is not going to tell you what it looks like for you. You're going to have to discover this yourself. This is something that every person, as an individual and as a part of a corporate, that's the mystery here. How can it be individual but be corporate at the same time?
Yeah, this is your human brain trying to reason through it.
Exactly. Beyond my ability to think it through, okay? But don't be deceived. It will be there, and it will be the center feature of heaven for eternities to come.
Yeah, and the few people that really seem to get a glimpse of this, like Mary and John, they had this different behavior or body language around Jesus, like much more personal and intimate. They had discovered the one thing, right? And so they lived differently around him. There was a calmness, there was an intimacy, a closer type of friendship. And I think they had a deeper understanding of the bride than maybe a lot of people around them did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like what happened way back in the day, when the Christian faith was developing and the church was developing, and even when the canon of the Bible was developing, and when everything was being put together, there was this entire side of the gospel that was really set aside. It can be found, but a lot of it was even erased. There is this intimate, united union side of the gospel that really doesn't fit well and doesn't work well when you're trying to clone churches and put masses of people through a system where they learn about God. And when you're trying to control congregations and get them to buy into certain mindsets or whatever, like that version of the gospel is what prevailed. But this version of the gospel, it was really silenced in a lot of ways.
Okay, and when you think about it, did Jesus come to start a new religion?
He did not.
Called Christianity.
No.
Why did he come then? There had to have been more. Why did he do all that? Not even just as this 30-year-old man just appeared, ta-da! But as a baby, like from the beginning, from the womb of the mother, as man, from the divine. What is the big picture here? It couldn't have just been to start this new religion that we've created. We go to church, we feel bad about ourselves, we tithe, we sing some songs in worship, we carry about our life, and then kind of repeat the cycle. What was he really doing? He was coming for his bride.
Yes. Well, he was coming to release his bride out of his side. And since then, that bride has been taking shape. And it's taken 2,000 years plus for that to even look like what it looks like today. And even now, we don't have a full picture of it. So, Karitas, in the last few years, and I'm talking about the last 5 years, the sound of the bride is being heard.
Do you hear what I hear?
That's Christmas.
The bride, glimmering in white.
Karitas, you're brilliant.
Nailed it. Okay, anyways,
Nailed
carry
it.
on. Really good point there, Dean. Wait, what were you saying? The sound.
The voice of the bride is starting to be heard. And so I think that's why we're even talking about this.
And you know what? You've been noticing too that you're hearing it now, right? Other people. It's as if we all have the same Holy Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, there are ministries now called Bridal Glory.
Right.
And Nancy Cohen has been talking about the bride, and Carol Arnott just had a dream about the bride. And, there are many things out there that are happening where people are talking about, all of a sudden, the bride. Because the Spirit is saying come and the bride is saying come. It's been getting louder and louder. And I think that's why it's resonating in our hearts. That's why we have to spend a few weeks on it, because not very many people have talked about it.
I love how that's where your mind goes. You had talked last week about how you've kind of meditated on end times stuff in the scriptures and with God. And I love how you hear bride. Most people seem to hear carnage and destruction and chaos and this and uprising. But you're hearing bride.
Yeah. I'll just say a couple of things here, because I have been doing a lot of meditating in the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation, it starts out by saying that the voice of the trumpet, or the voice of Jesus that John heard at the beginning, was like the sound of many waters. If we talk about sod or layers, like we have in the past, book of Revelation has many, many layers. There is a prophetic layer. There is a literal layer. There is a symbolic layer. There is a historical layer. There are all kinds of layers. And the thing is that, somebody will say, oh, it is about the end time events. And then the next person will say, no, that has already all been fulfilled. The people who this book was written to are people in the first century. Then other people will say, oh, it's a symbolic. You have to understand all the symbolic part of it. It's about the clash between good and evil in our hearts. It's an internal book. And you know what? I'm not convinced that all of those things aren't true. But in my opinion, the book of Revelation is a love letter from Jesus to his bride.
It's the cherry on top of that multi-layered cake.
Absolutely. When I look at it, I don't see all of the stuff. And yeah, there are timelines and things. And yeah, there are symbolic things. But I see it as the revealing of Jesus as the bridegroom to his bride. Because at the very end of it, it describes the bride.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to go today. We're going to look at some very weird things.
Okay, let's get weird.
Let's get weird. Let's go strange here. So in Revelation 21, it says, now I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth has passed away. Also there was no more sea. Then I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. This is a very strange picture. You've got a city, and it says it's prepared as a bride, a New Jerusalem. It's coming down out of heaven from God. So this is where we have to let our boundaries go, because in one place it describes this New Jerusalem as a cube, and it even tells us how big it was. He measured the city with a reed. 12,000 furlongs, its length, breadth, and height are equal. And so here you've got a city that's literally 1,500 miles, because that's about how big 12,000 furlongs is. 1,500 miles, and it's a cube.
Okay.
And it's brilliant.
Hold on. I need to pull my train into the imagination station.
Okay.
How many furlongs was that, Dean?
12,000 furlongs.
I need to start.
It's about 1,500 miles, all right?
It's a big cube.
It's a big cube, all right? Okay. So it's about 2/3 of the size of our current moon. That's how big it is.
Okay. So a cube moon.
Yeah. So it's like a cube moon. All right. So you have to realize that our current earth and our current heaven is gone.
The spheres are history.
They are history, because what just happened is there's been a great judgment. The earth and heaven, everything fled at the judgment. It's all gone. It's gone other places. I don't know where it went, but it's a long ways away.
Yeah.
So God has to actually create a new heaven, and he's got to create a new earth. So he creates this new heaven and he creates this new earth. And now, rather than them being far from each other, they're in proximity to each other. And the bride of Christ is pictured as a big, massive city. It's a cube. Like, think in Star Trek, the Borg, okay? Like, it's a cube, except it's brilliant. It tells all of the jewels that are in it, and it's glistening and glowing and bright, and it's lit up by the face of the Lamb. So the bridegroom is lighting the whole place up.
This bride is the most beautiful cube.
Absolutely.
It's the most glorious cube. Who would have thought
My
that?
darling cube.
My darling cube. How lovely thou art. Okay.
And then it goes to tell how people will be coming in and out of this city. It's in proximity to the new earth that's been created. So those who are there have this free access of transport back and forth.
Yeah, they go in and out of the gate freely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you think now about our moon, the moon reflects the light of the sun. And that moon has always kind of been a type of the church, actually. Because in this new heaven and this new earth, there's going to be a moon, but it's going to be a cube. Think of it, okay? I'm not kidding you. It's lit up by the light of the Lamb, and it shines its bright brilliance. Can you imagine in a night sky on the earth looking up and seeing this massive glowing cube?
Yeah, things got weird.
This is the bride of Christ.
So good. But you know what, Kay, think about it. If we started off on a cube, we would think the sphere idea would be weird.
That's
so
true.
It's only weird because we're used to everything looking one certain way.
Round.
Spheres are out. Cubes are in.
Spheres are going out.
Yeah.
Cubes are coming in.
Yeah. See, you can't separate science and math from God.
No, you
He
can't.
loves geometry. Anyways, back on track here.
So back on track.
So he saw no temple in it, for the Lord and the Lamb are its temple, had no need for the sun or the moon to shine on it, for the glory of God illuminated it. The Lamb is its light.
Yep.
And the nations of those who are saved shall walk in its light, and the kings of the earth bring their glory and honor into it. Its gates shall not be shut at all by day, and there shall be no night.
So that's the cube. That's the bride of Christ.
Things you didn't think you'd hear today.
Okay. So let's take our imagination for a minute, because we cannot imagine Jesus being married to the cube. But there is this corporate expression of the bride of Christ, this brilliant city that is called the city of peace, because that's what Jerusalem means, where people come in and go out. And so you see, we can be individuals and we can come out of that, or we can be part of the corporate and we can go back into it. So there is a place in this bride of Christ for individual expression, and there's also a place in the bride of Christ for this corporate expression. But do not kid yourself. Jesus is madly in love with this cube. He's madly in love with his bride.
Loves the bride.
He loves the bride. The bride and Jesus have this romance that has been in the making for millennia. And in the end, this will be the bride of Christ. We can't imagine it. We can't wrap our heads around it. We can't imagine how the Lamb could love the cube,
Yeah.
could love the bride.
Yeah.
But the Lamb loves the bride. It's not symbolic. It's not metaphorical. It is a marriage. These two are married.
Yeah.
And we're able to come in and go out of it because we're all members of this body. So this city is actually a body. It's a person.
Yeah.
It's a corporate person, but at the same time, it's full of individuals.
Like, I feel like if the way we're living our faith walk with the Lord makes sense, we're not deep enough. Because the more you start reading the Word and spending time with Him and walking with Him and hearing Him, the less sense it starts making as far as alignment with this realm and with the flesh. It really is another level. This is another reason we encourage people to go up, with Him, because this is the kind of stuff that's available. And it's available now too.
Yes.
Right. And it's exciting to talk about this stuff now. Why? Well, from what I hear the rest of the world talking about, this is much more tantalizing
Yeah.
and way more exciting and filled with life and joy, right?
Yeah. So I do want to read just a couple more verses here just to give more context, because the verse we just read said, the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So somebody could say, oh, that's just the city and it's so beautiful and it looks as a bride, but it's
Right.
not the bride. But just a few verses later in verse 9, it says, then one of the 7 angels spoke with me saying, come, here I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb. And then he carried me away in the spirit to a great high mountain and showed me the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God. And here it actually says, this is the bride, the wife of the Lamb.
Yeah.
The wife of the Lamb, people.
The wife of the
The
Lamb.
wife of the Lamb is a city made up of individuals who are washed white with the blood of the Lamb.
Wow.
And we are part of this corporate expression, this ecclesia, and we will be a ruling body along with the Lamb, bringing the kingdom of heaven to multiple places throughout the cosmos in multiple dimensions.
It's going to be wild.
It is going to be wild.
Yeah. And to think here, we're just living for the next big thing, promotion at work or vacation. It's like we have no idea how good it's going to get.
Yeah. There's another place in Revelation chapter 19 where it says, let's rejoice and be glad and give the glory to him because the marriage of the Lamb has come and his bride has prepared herself. It was given her to clothe herself in fine white linen and clean, for that white linen is the righteous acts of the saints. Blessed are those who are invited to the wedding feast of the Lamb. These words are true words of God. Right here, it talks about the fine linen, the righteous acts of the saints. That's us. So somehow we are part of this wife of the Lamb.
And who's invited to the wedding feast? Is he talking about aliens? And
You know what? There are millions and millions of beings out there.
yeah,
So we don't know who's invited to the wedding feast.
some of them will be covered in eyes.
I'm sure they will be. The Father, I'm sure, will walk the bride down the aisle. Jesus Christ, the Lamb, will be waiting there for her at the end of that aisle. And there's going to be this wedding. It is a real thing. We're not making this up. Don't think this is symbolic in any way. It's real.
So good, Dean. Okay, this conversation really got away with us here.
It got away, and we're actually out of time today.
And we barely even scratched the surface.
No, like we've done the first 2 paragraphs of our notes.
We could bring up Ephesians and Revelation, and then we'll have a conversation. It just becomes the whole thing.
I know. Greatest, we still have so much more to go in the following week or weeks that we're going to talk about this. We're going to keep going until this is done.
Yeah.
All right. So have an awesome week, everyone. We'll see you next time. We're going to talk more about the bride of Christ.
Awesome. See you guys.
Bye.